Have you ever been bullied? If so, what happened and how did it make you feel?
Yes, I have been bullied before, and what happened was several people decided to make fun of me because of my identity, and happens more than it used to, and people tend to just use like slurs at me.
So I have been bullied. I've been made fun of for my skin color, and so I had to stand up for myself and tell them that that's not okay.
Have you ever seen someone get bullied? Did you act? Did someone else act?
I always try to take my experiences and try to make the most out of it and just try to embrace who I am as a human being.
I have seen someone get bullied. I did act, and I confronted the bully and told them that's not okay either.
Do you have a message for the people who are being bullied / have been bullied but are afraid to come out and say something about it?
So don't take what people say to heart, because you're only hurting yourself and you're giving them what they want, and that's to hurt you.
My message would be to definitely come out and share your story, because when you share your story, it helps other people get more brave to share their story, and it empowers other people to also share their story. So.
My bully's name was Richie. He lived a few doors down from me. His dad was in jail, and his mother gave him anything he wanted. He often abused his mother verbally and physically. He began his torture of me by making me cry almost every day on my way to school. I was just 6 years old. He was 2 years older. He called me names, tripped me, hit me, punched me, and pulled my hair. During one episode, I tripped and my front teeth bit through my lip, causing me to bleed so badly that when I got to school, the nurse couldn't figure out where the blood was coming from. In those days, kids didn't file assault charges on other kids, so calling the police wasn't even a thought. I was raised to fight your own battles, so my mother wasn't going to go and talk to his mother. This abuse lasted until I was 12, and he moved out of the neighborhood. In those 6 long years of nearly daily torment, I learned to fight, but it was never enough. He was always stronger, meaner, and larger than me. I threw rocks and he threw bigger ones. I called him names and he retaliated physically. Sometimes I would walk with an older kid I thought would protect me, but oftentimes they were friends with him. I even tried being kind to him, but he saw this as weakness. I was powerless. I was at his mercy. I felt as though I would never be anything but someone else's target, because I wasn't worthy of having any power. I set myself on being a victim. I got comfort from sympathy. The sympathy was never enough to make me feel stronger. My bully grew up, and I read about him in the newspaper under the crime section several times. He was arrested several times. I even heard that he was arrested for murder. But in my old neighborhood, you could never be sure what was true and what was a rumor. Parents in my neighborhood talked about him as though they were glad he wasn't their kid. They gossiped about how disrespectful and bad he was. They seemed to like knowing someone they could judge, but never extended a hand to help. As I grew up, I grew mentally stronger, but the scars both physically and mentally remain. I wish I had the tools I have now that I didn't have as a kid. I would have demanded help, and I would have gone to anyone and everyone until someone listened. I would have pressed charges. I would have gotten counseling for the trauma. Yes, it was traumatic. I also wonder about Richie. What would his life, or could his life have been with counseling and therapy for the loss of his father? If he had someone, a mentor, to show him how to do something with his life. If he had been taught that kindness wasn't weakness. I wonder about his life in prison and if he has any family or people who care about him. I work on forgiving him when I think, so that one day I won't have the mental scars. After all, he was just a kid once. I debated with myself on whether or not to share my story. Maybe you'll look at your phone instead of listening to it. Maybe you won't react at all. Maybe you'll think I wasn't a strong person. Maybe you'll cry a little. If you take one thing from this story and if you listen to just one thing, please listen to this. It doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to suffer. Your bully is also suffering. It may not seem like it, but they are. This is a symptom of their pain, but it doesn't have to be inflicted on you or anyone else.